In this video, we uncover the heartbreaking story of a young Mexican woman who traveled all the way to Peru to meet the man she fell in love with online. What was supposed to be a romantic trip filled with hope and new beginnings turned into a nightmare. It had been a 2-year relationship that happened only on a phone screen, but her body was found on a remote beach just a few months later. So, what did she actually do? Before we get into the details of today's case, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into real-life crime stories, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I'm always curious to see where these stories are reaching, so I'd genuinely appreciate it if you shared where in the world you're watching from in the comments below. Now, let's begin today's case. On November 10th, 2022, the first hints started to show up. People who were fishing off the coast of Huacho, Peru, were surprised by the loud noise of seagulls nearby. They walked over because they were interested and saw a bunch of decaying bodies lying in the sand. As soon as the police got there, they blocked off the area and started gathering evidence. The victim was a woman who was about 50 years old, according to the forensic test, but detectives ran into problems right away. The traits of her face and fingerprints had been removed on purpose. The mutilation looked very professional, and her internal parts were missing. At first, police thought it might have been the work of an organized crime group with ties to trading on the black market. But as the probe went on, a very important lead came to light. A record from immigration officials matched a report of a lost person from Mexican officials that helped the Peruvian cops figure out that the victim was a Mexican woman who had come all the way to Peru to start a new life with a man she trusted. Soon, it was proven to be Blanca Ariano, who was born in Mexico on February 6, 1971. Blanca used to be a tour guide in the area, but when COVID-19 hit, the tourism business in Mexico fell apart. As the number of visitors dropped, she lost her job and had to become a rideshare driver to make ends meet. But the new job didn't offer much security, especially after March 23, 2020, when Mexico declared a public health emergency across the whole country. People stopped going out. The number of calls for rides dropped by a lot, and Blanca was left with almost no work. Her days were mostly now spent at home, where she played online games for hours on end. Blanca met Juan Pablo Villafuerte during this time. He was 12 years younger than her. Juan was a student at Cayetano Heredia University, studying medicine with a focus on biology and drugs. He was a big fan of video games and also ran one of the biggest online gaming groups in the area. They quickly became close through talks in the gaming group. Soon, Juan asked Blanca to help him run the group as a co-moderator. She gladly agreed because she had some free time because they worked together so much. They talked to each other a lot in private, and over time their friendship turned into something more. They lived thousands of miles apart, but that didn't stop them from becoming closer mentally through their screens. Their online friendship turned into a long-distance love because of the internet. Blanca even threw Juan a virtual birthday party, and he reacted by recording a bunch of songs just for her. Since they had been talking and checking in on each other every day for almost 2 years, they started talking about the idea of moving in together. Blanca and Juan both got more and more excited about meeting in real life as their friendship grew. But Blanca couldn't buy a plane ticket to Peru because she didn't have enough money. Juan understood her position and offered to fly to Mexico instead. Blanca was clearly thrilled when he made this promise. She was excited to show him around her city and meet her family and friends for the first time. Things didn't go the way she had planned, though. Not long after that, Juan told her he couldn't make it to Mexico after all. Blanca was very upset because she had been so looking forward to today. She couldn't wait any longer. So she bravely went to Peru by herself to meet him. Blanca started selling her things to get money for the trip. She sold her gas stove, warm blankets, rice cooker, and even her winter clothes. She also sold some old home decorations and the car she used to get to work. She was able to get just over $5,400 in total. While Blanca was getting ready, Juan kept telling her from the other side of the screen that he would love her and care for her, and that they would spend the rest of their lives together. Blanca had full faith in him and began making plans to move to Peru permanently to start a new life with him. Her family was scared when they heard about her plans. Blanca was nearly 50 years old and had been single for most of her life. She was now ready to give up everything for a guy she had never met. Blanca was still firm in her choice. Her family tried to get her to stay in Mexico where she had family and friends and felt safe, but she argued that this could be her last chance to be happy. Even though they were worried, her parents finally agreed with her. They told Blanca to keep in touch and to let them know right away if something didn't seem right when she got to Peru. She agreed and gave them a nod to show that she thought everything would be okay. After a few weeks, on July 28, 2022, Blanca got her things together and went to the airport. Her whole family showed up to say goodbye. They gave her tight hugs and told her to watch out for herself along the way. She told them not to worry. She was going to meet Juan in Peru, see a few big towns, and then move into his apartment by the sea. Blanca got to Jorge Chavez International Airport early the next morning at 2:45 a.m., just as planned. The man she fell in love with online, Juan, was already there ready to pick her up. His small room was in the coastal town of Hua, and he took her back there. From the first time they met, they seemed to be at ease with each other. They didn't feel weird when they talked, even though they had never met in person before. She was happy to take pictures with Juan and sent them to her family to let them know she got there safely. She wasn't alone, and someone was there to meet her. This made her family feel better. They thought everything would be fine as long as he was with her. The first few days in Peru went pretty smoothly. Blanca walked along the beach and enjoyed the fresh air. She then took a break in Juan's small apartment by the water. The new place helped her get used to her new surroundings quickly. Soon after, she bought a SIM card from her home country and put it in a second phone. Her family lived in Mexico, so she used one phone to talk to them. In Peru, she used the other phone for daily things. As of now, Juan was still going to school during the week, so Blanca needed a Peruvian phone number to order food and take care of things by herself. Things didn't feel right on November 7th, 2022. Though Blanca had been texting or calling her family every day, but all of a sudden, she stopped for hours. There were no new messages or check-ins like she always did. What scared Blanca's family even more was that all of her social media pages stopped talking from that same day on. She was usually very busy online and shared bits of her life all the time. So, this was very different from her. In fact, she texted her niece the morning before to let her know that things with Juan were going great. The family thought at first that she might just be busy and hadn't had a chance to answer. But when it got dark and still no word, their worry grew. They called and texted her many times in the evening and into the night, but she never answered. They knew they had to do something because of the long silence. Blanca's niece was the most driven person in the middle of all the chaos because she was very close to her aunt. She was scared when Blanca went missing. She didn't waste any time looking through Blanca's social media links. Blanca's profile made it easy for her to find Juan's contact information. She sent Juan a message right away, thinking he might know something. He replied a few minutes later, saying that he had also lost touch with Blanca a few days before. He said she broke up with him on her own, bought a ticket back to Mexico, and was probably already on her way home. But her phone might have died, which is why no one could get in touch with her. To be clear, Juan sent a picture of their most recent chat, which took place on November 7th, 2022. He told her to be careful on that road because it was known for thefts and wished her a safe trip to Lima capital. I answered with a short, polite goodbye. Juan also told Blanca's niece that she would definitely get in touch with the family when she got back to Mexico, but those texts made her feel even worse. Based on what she knew about Blanca, she was sure that her aunt would never be so quiet if she was really leaving for home. Blanca always told her family about her travel plans, whether she was going on a domestic or foreign flight. That's why the niece kept texting Juan and asking more questions about where Blanca was. At first, his response was normal, but as the talk went on, he became more and more irritable. He finally lost it and accused her of meddling in his life. He then refused to talk about anything else. Blanca's family felt helpless, so they chose to do something public. They started asking for help on social media in the hopes that someone who saw her would come forward. Even worse, Blanca's niece shared screenshots of her last talks with Juan and told everyone to pay close attention to him. In just a few hours, Juan's picture spread quickly across many social media sites, getting a lot of attention and quickly starting a media uproar in both Mexico and Peru. Blanca's family contacted the Peruvian consulate and put out open calls to the community, asking people to help get the word out so that they could find their lost loved one. Authorities in Peru had to step in because more and more people were calling for Juan to be questioned about Blanca's missing. He showed up, but he tried to avoid most of the questions. He kept a cold, emotionless demeanor the whole time of the interview, looking straight ahead without showing any signs of distress. In the questioning room, Juan refused to change his story. It was his claim that Blanca had gone missing, that he had nothing to do with it. He even said he didn't know her and had never been in a relationship with her. The cops asked Juan 73 questions, and he didn't answer any of them. He only gave a vague answer when asked where he was when Blanca went missing. He had been going somewhere else. Things were not what they seemed to be on the security camera video while buying bleach on November 7th, the same day Blanca went missing. Juan was caught on surveillance video from a store near his home. That was also the day that Blanca's family got her last phone call by chance. This strange coincidence made people instantly think Juan was guilty. Blanca went missing for no clear reason, and he was caught on camera buying bleach right before everything stopped. Juan was the main suspect because of one thing he did. At the same time, Blanca's family called him out on social media and asked for answers. As the negative comments about Juan grew, he replied on his own social media page. He said he wasn't seeing Blanca emotionally and that all he had done was help her out financially and find a temporary place to live. He said Blanca might not have known what their relationship was about because she was having emotional or mental problems. He was also mad that her sister had put his picture online and made him look like a criminal, even though he hadn't done anything wrong and had no reason to hide. Juan kept going. He then said that he had nothing to do with Blanca's choice to visit Peru. He claimed that she had gone on the trip by herself without being invited or making any plans ahead of time. When she got to Lima capital with little money and no one to help her, he said he gave her money to go back to Mexico and let her stay at his apartment for a while. It's worth noting that Juan quickly changed his social media profile picture and removed all posts that might have suggested a link between him and Blanca. Once the case became public, the review also found that Blanca's time in Peru was not at all the peaceful time her family had hoped for. Blanca called a Mexican airline a few days before she disappeared on October 3rd, 2022, to ask for a refund for her empty return ticket. The company told her, though, that they couldn't handle the request. From a different point of view, Blanca's daily life in Peru showed signs of being hard and lonely. Juan gave her only $22 a week to cover all of her costs of living. Also, Blanca had to stay in the small rental room with Juan whenever Juan had to go to Lima capital for work and wasn't allowed to leave. The agreements with the landlord said that the room could only house one person. However, on October 9th, 2022, things changed in a big way. Along the beach in Peru, a group of fishermen found several body parts lying around. They called the cops right away. The victim's face and fingerprints were destroyed on purpose, but the exact surgical cuts on their body showed a level of skill that would not have been possible without medical training. The cops found an intact clear-style ring still on the victim's finger, which was the most important thing. The investigators had to change the direction of their search after making this find. It was confirmed by Blanca's family that the ring was the same one she always wore. The same ring could be seen in several daily pictures she sent to her family, something she thought of as a good luck charm and hadn't taken off in years. Was a keepsake with a personal symbol etched on it. There was more, though. She got the design on the ring tattooed on her wrist because she loved it so much. It wasn't just jewelry to her. It was a spiritual symbol that she thought kept her strong and safe during the hardest times of her life. Blanca's family also remembered that she had a mole on her back that stood out. In a scary accident, the forensic team found the remains of a mole in the same place, and they looked a lot alike. This made people even more suspicious that the body parts might belong to Blanca, but a full forensic study was needed to be sure. Not long after that, on October 15, 2022, cops searched Juan's apartment without warning. After going there, they found blood in a number of places, mostly around the bed, the bathroom, and other places. Testing with DNA proved that all of the blood belonged to Blanca. In addition to the blood proof, police found some of her personal items, such as clothes, toiletries, and a woman's suitcase. The suitcase said Mexico on it. On the wall was a Mexican flag, and there were long pieces of hair all over the floor. Blanca's family looked over the things and pictures and confirmed that they all belonged to her. Also, digital forensics showed that Juan looked up how to reset a ZTE phone on Google on the same day Blanca lost touch with her family. It just so happened that Blanca used a ZTE phone. At about the same time, a neighbor said they saw Juan leaving his flat several times while carrying what looked like 8 plastic bags. A friend of Jan's also confirmed that around 7:00 p.m. on November 7th, Juan called him and asked for a favor to ride a motorcycle to a nearby store and buy some cookies, smokes, and black trash bags. After 30 minutes, the motorcycle was seen parked outside of the building where Juan lived. 2 days later, another neighbor saw Juan walking nervously down the street with a trash bag in his hand before quickly turning into an empty alley. It looked like he was afraid that someone was watching him because his face was tense. People started to think that Blanca had been hurt because of these strange actions. Soon after, Juan was seen going out again to get cleaning supplies. From that day on, he stopped going to school all of a sudden. As more evidence came in, the police finally turned their attention to Juan. The moment the news got out, he was immediately criticized by a lot of people. The medical school where he was a student quickly kicked him out and took his name off their list of students. Taking advantage of the attention, some people on the internet started looking into Juan's past and found that he had been convicted of domestic against his ex-wife in 2016. Others found out that Juan had a brother who was exactly the same as him as a way to help people tell them apart. Juan got a unique tattoo on his body. Even though there was more and more proof against Juan, he insisted that he had nothing to do with Blanca's death. As the police looked into the crime, they found that Juan had been posting videos online of human organ dissections around the time they thought the crime had happened. What was scary was that Blanca's missing body parts seemed to match the types of organs shown in those vids. The police now think that the body parts that were stolen might have belonged to Blanca, but it's still not clear if Juan did it by himself or with help. If this case has anything to do with illegal organ trafficking, It could be a key clue that leads to the discovery of a bigger criminal network. Based on that idea, investigators looked into it further and found that Juan often traveled between Peru and Bolivia before and after the crime. He also got a lot of strange deposits into his personal bank account, which made people think he might be linked to organized crime. One officer said that while Juan was seeing Blanca, he was also seeing another woman behind her back. This made people even more worried because it meant that his claims of love for Blanca were probably always lies. These facts made police think that Juan could fully control Blanca's surroundings once he had successfully lured her to Peru, where she didn't have any friends, family, or other support systems. He is then said to have killed her and taken her parts to sell on the black market. He probably thought that throwing her body into the water would make sure that it would wash away and be gone forever. That's what he didn't expect. Blanca's family would do everything they could to find out the truth and not give up. Finally, on October 17, 2022, Juan was caught by cops. They made sure he was who he said he was by looking at a unique tattoo on his arm to make sure he hadn't switched places with his identical twin brother. When Juan was arrested, he was with a woman who was 26 years old. She told the police that they met online, that they had been dating for a month, and that she didn't know anything about Blanca. Juan told her that Blanca was a friend from Mexico. When she asked about the woman whose name was all over the internet that same afternoon, Peru's Criminal Investigation Unit made it official. They had enough proof to say for sure that Juan and Blanca had lived together in the same apartment. Police found a lot of blood at the spot, which suggests that Blanca was probably beaten up before she went missing. Forensic tests proved that the body parts that washed up on the beach belonged to Blanca. As more proof came in, Juan was officially charged with aggravated murder and organ trafficking. At the same time, Juan acted strangely and lied many times while being questioned. The police found a backpack with a lot of cash in his flat. When Juan was asked about it, he said the backpack wasn't his, but his girlfriend told him right away that it was definitely Juan's. Also, he dodged or flatly ignored a lot of the questions about the case. He wouldn't give any useful answers. Even after being questioned for hours, a few days later, on October 22, 2022, Juan was put in solitary confinement while he waited for his trial. He was supposed to be there for 9 months before his trial. During this time, he often moaned about the conditions, saying that he couldn't stand sharing a bathroom, sleeping on the floor, and not being able to get to showers easily. When the trial did start, Juan stuck to what he had said before and wouldn't change a word. He said that the bloody mattress that was found in his room was actually used, and that he didn't know it was stained. He even said it was possible that he let Blanca use the room, and that she had brought someone else with her who could have killed her. At that point, though, the court had already decided that Juan killed Blanca and didn't accept any of his excuses. Not long after that, in February 2023, Blanca's body was returned to Mexico. Juan got 35 years in jail and had to pay the victim's family $15,000 as part of evidence on September 12, 2023. Even though he was guilty, Juan still says he is innocent. He says that the case has lost him his family, his job, and his image. He says he doesn't want to live anymore because he can't show he is innocent. Juan says that the claims are only based on the fact that he is a doctor. He still has faith that the cops will fully look into the case and catch the real killer because of everything that has happened. Blanca Ariano's case is not just the sad story of a woman who fell in love and lost her sight. This is also a scary reminder of the hidden risks that come with interactions that start on our phones and computers in the digital world, where everyone can show off a perfect version of themselves. People tend to hide the truth first. Thanks for sticking with us through this heartbreaking story. It's a powerful reminder of how quickly trust can turn into tragedy. If you found this case compelling, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another true crime deep dive.